UK policy changes, dual citizens, and why you need a real Plan B, not just a second passport. In February, the United Kingdom is introducing a policy change that has taken many dual citizens completely by surprise. Australians who are visiting the UK will now need an electronic travel authorization, and Australian British or Australian Irish dual citizens will no longer be able to simply turn up with whichever passport happens to be valid or convenient. Instead, they must now enter on the correct British or Irish passport, or by using a certificate of entitlement, which is expensive and has to be renewed each time you get a new passport. For many families, this means hundreds or even more than $1,000 is an unexpected cost and a genuine risk of being denied boarding if they do not have the right document in time. So this video is not going to be focusing on that, but today I want to look at what this UK story really teaches us about relying on a single system and how to think intelligently about citizenship by investment, residency, and a Plan B that is legal and sustainable, not simply just reactive. So a few months ago, Kevin released a video on this channel about why UK millionaires are leaving Britain in record numbers, looking at tax, regulatory pressure, and the broader direction that the UK is going in. So this latest policy change for dual citizens and Australian visitors fits into that same pattern. The UK is digitizing its border, it's tightening how people enter, and passing more costs and complexity to travelers who assume things would always work the way they used to. I think for people, the lesson is not to panic about this specific rule. The deeper question is, how much of your life depends on one country's decisions, and what happens when those decisions change? So if you look at the Australian coverage of these changes, you see the same themes over and over again. People who have traveled on an Australian passport for decades now discover that they suddenly need to pay for a British or Irish passport, or if they have one, or a certificate of entitlement to preserve the rights they took for granted. So the numbers are not trivial. Application fees, courier charges, COE costs, and even renunciation fees if someone decides they no longer want to be a British citizen. And at the same time, Australian passport fees themselves have increased, making the do nothing and hope approach more expensive than it used to be. So nobody did anything wrong here. The rules simply moved and changed, as do laws and as do policies, and this is exactly the environment in which citizenship and residency planning matters. So when people hear citizenship by investment, they often think of it as buying a second passport. In reality, what sophisticated clients are looking for is jurisdictional diversification. So they're looking for a second or third country where they can legally live, a system that gives them alternative banking and travel options, and ideally a structure that still works when laws, rules, and policies tighten, because they will. So the UK's new approach to dual nationals is a reminder that governments can change how you use your existing passports, how much they cost, and under what conditions you can enter or stay. So for someone who has only one citizenship or those whose backup option is entirely within one block, that is a lot of risk to put in one basket. So where citizenship by investment and other routes fit in without all the hype? So citizenship by investment is not the right tool for everyone, and it should not be treated as a way to avoid the law. For some people, the right answer might be an EU citizenship by descent that they have not fully explored yet, or a residency program in a country that aligns with their lifestyle and tax position, or in certain cases, a well-chosen citizenship by investment program that provides a stable additional citizenship outside of their home country or current region. So what matters more is not the label on the route that you do, but whether the legal rights it gives you actually helps when policies change. The UK's move towards ETAs and stricter proof for dual citizens is one example. We see similar trends in border digitalization and data sharing in many parts of the world. The question is, if your main country of citizenship tightens its rules again in 5 or 10 years, do you have a legal alternative that is already in place and fully documented? So in my practice, I work with clients who are based in countries like the UK, Australia, Canada, and the EU. We've helped many crypto-heavy clients and entrepreneurs whose lives and assets are across borders and are in multiple different countries. We've helped families who simply want to know that their children will have choices if the rules and laws in one country shift. And what they usually need is not a sales pitch. What they're really looking for is a clear explanation of how changes like the UK's dual citizen rules might affect them. They want an honest assessment of whether citizenship by investment, whether EU ancestry or residency is the right tool, or whether they should wait and see a plan. A lot of people are looking for a plan that's really realistic about documentation, tax, and compliance, so not just marketing headlines. And this is what we do on a daily basis. We translate complex, moving laws and regulations and policies into concrete legal or advisory strategy for your specific situation. So it's really tailored to the specific client situation. So if you're a dual citizen or you're thinking about becoming one, if you're in the UK and this UK story is a useful reminder that rights you take for granted today can become more conditional tomorrow. And I think we're seeing this pattern in many countries around the world, not just the UK. The most productive thing that I think you can do is not react in fear, but to understand and really truly understand your current position and the current position, the country that you're a citizen of and where you live. And to really evaluate your options, whether it's a passport and residences, and what countries do you have passports and residences right now, which routes might be available to you by descent, by investment, or by residence, and how much physical presence, how much cost and complexity are you comfortable with, and what are your long-term goals. If you'd like to have a conversation in a professional and confidential setting, myself or a member of my team would be happy to speak with you further. You'll find our contact details in the description below, along with a link to Kevin's earlier video on why UK millionaires are leaving, and background of citizenship by investment and EU ancestry roots. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure to put a thumbs up and a like. We'd be happy to hear from you. All the best. Bye for now.